How good are you at keeping your promise? Well, in today's Psalm 132, it's split in two. And we have two people making a promise each. The first one is King David. He's promising something to God. And then in the second half of the Psalm, God is promising something to David. Well, let's look at David first of all. David's not writing this, by the way. It's a future writer looking back and reflecting. And he reflects on the fact that David not only promised to bring the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, he also promised he would build a resting place, a home for it. Now, if you know your Jewish history, David, yes, got the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, not without a whole load of trouble. Verse 1 tells us of that really. "O Lord, remember David and all the hardships he endured." That was just getting the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. But it talks about as well the oath that he made to want a final resting place, a home for it. But David never achieved that. The temple was never built in David's time. God told him that although that was a good intention, that would be a successor. It was Solomon, his son, who built the temple, of course, for the Ark of the Covenant. But what was God's promise to David? And this is what he certainly kept. Well, it begins there in verse 11 after the request comes from verse 10. Can someone reign forever on this throne of mine? And God says, yes, definitely. Someone from your line will always reign on your throne. And we see that, of course, wonderfully fulfilled with God not only bringing king after king, but then ultimately from David's line, he sent his son to be the Saviour of the world, the Messiah, who reigns still today forever on the throne. And he reigns for us, the Church of Jesus Christ. What a great King and a great Messiah, Saviour we have, reigning, ruling, and is the head of the church. So of course God was better, and still is and always will be, at keeping his promises compared to us. But let's just go back to David's promise. Although he couldn't keep it, it was a fabulous intention that he had, because his intention was the Ark of the Covenant that represent God's presence. He wanted it continually, and he wanted to abide near God. Now, what a great intention. And let's have that ourselves, wanting God always and to dwell near him. But of course for us, we don't need to worry about that physically, having to go up to Jerusalem, having to go to the temple. Through Jesus Christ, we have access to God's presence permanently. Oh, what a privilege is ours. Let's enjoy it and make the most of it.